started his career as petroleum engineers, Mr. Mohammad Zaidi bin Sharif graduated with honour in Bachelor of Engineering Australia under Petronas Graduate Scholarship Program. After 3 years serving in Petronas, Mr. Zaidi later appointed as Senior Analyst, then Senior Officer to President in Malaysia Petroleum Resources Corporations. Here he started involved in the corporate strategies, engagement with the stakeholders, and eyeing the investment promotion strategies on the national level. Mr. Zaidi further enhanced his expertise in FELDA, Global Ventures Holding Berhad, by leading a strategy development unit in dealing with global strategic blueprint and corporate strategies. With the national and global-wide expertise, Mr. Zaidi appointed as Head of Special Project and Head of Strategies by leading Malaysia Rail Link, Strategic Planning and Business Development Division. Join me to welcome Mr. Zaidi, the Head of Strategies of Malaysia Rail Link. Selamat.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kai. Thank you very much for the introduction. Okay, first of all, congratulations to Veritas Design Group for successfully organizing series number 14 of your Veritas lecture series. I think it's quite an achievement to continuously organize this event every year until the 14th series of it. And this year, with the topic Mind the Gap. Thank you very much for inviting me, for having me today to talk about the East Coast Rail Link project, or the ECRL project. So let's get on to it, I guess. So for my introduction to the ECRL project, or for my presentation today or lecture today, I think the first half I'm going to talk a bit about the introduction to the project, to get people to be familiarized with it, in case you haven't been able to be brief about the project. And the second half, I will be talking about the socio-economic benefit, and also some real new opportunities that has presented itself by the construction and hopefully the operation of the ECRL project later. So I will begin my presentation with explaining the structure of this project. So the project is Government of Malaysia project. It is a federal government project owned by the Government of Malaysia, and Malaysia Rail Link Sdn Berhad, which is the company I'm working for, is a special purpose vehicle company set up by the government to act as the project owner, because right now somebody have to be appointed as the project owner for the ECRL project. So this company here has been set up by Minister of Finance Incorporated. We are a wholly owned company owned by Minister of Finance Incorporated, acting as the project owner, and subsequently we will be acting as the asset owner of ECRL. And then I think previously we have heard from Tuan Said from APAD. So APAD is our regulator under the Ministry of Transport. We do have our independent checking engineer throughout the construction project. And maybe I explain about the contractor that has been appointed for this project. So this project was conceived back in 2016 via a government-to-government negotiation between Malaysia and China. So from that negotiation, our government has agreed to appoint China Communications Construction Company Limited, CCCC, as the EPCC contractor to this project, very similar to a turnkey contractor. So the scope of the appointment covers right from the engineering, procurement, construction, and also the commissioning of the project. So once it's all completed, it will be handed over back to MRL as an asset owner, and then we will proceed to appoint the operator. So the project is financed. 85% of the project cost or construction cost is financed by China Exim Bank, also a government-owned bank from China, via the G2G arrangement, and the balance of 15% is financed by Sukuk program issued by our local financial institution. Any subcontractors that is working for the project if you have heard any of them working for the project, is actually a subcontractor to CCCC rather than a subcontractor to MRL. So I guess this is quite important for everybody to understand that this project has appointed an EPCC contractor, and any subcontractors, when we talk about local participation, local subcontractor working for the project, they are actually subcontractor to the main contractor or to the EPCC contractor, CCCC. So yeah, maybe I can move on from the slide. Okay, just a little bit of history on ECRL. I guess has been in the news quite many times. There's three version already of it. So ECRL 1.0 is a project where we agreed on it back in 2016-2017. So it has two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. It has 28 stations, and the length of the alignment was 688 kilometers. And then I think back in 2018, the project was suspended for a while, about 9 months, to allow for the federal government back then to review the project. Pretty much all the mega project back then was reviewed very extensively by the federal government, including ECRL. And throughout that 9 months of suspension, project revision was done, and also a negotiation with the Chinese government was also done to see how the project can be further refined, and especially the construction costs can be reduced. So I think back in 2019, we have agreed to ECRL 2.0, where there are some realignment done to the original alignment compared to ECRL 1.0. Number of stations has been slightly reduced to 21 stations, and the length of the alignment also was shortened a bit to 640 kilometers. The two part where the realignment happened, the first one is from Kota Baru, KB, to Dongun, and also the second part from Temerloh to Port Klang. There's also a big realignment from Temerloh to Port Klang, where it was realigned towards the south part of Klang Valley, going into Negeri Sembilan, crossing to Putrajaya, Jenjarom, before it arrives in Westport in Port Klang. But recently, in earlier this year, in April, I think the Minister of Transport has announced that ECRL will be reverted back to its original alignment as per the one we have conceived back in 2016-2017. However, that only focused on the section from Temerloh to Port Klang. The section from KB to Dungun stays as it is, as ECRL 2.0, but the section from Temerloh to Port Klang, again, we revert it back to its original alignment, passing through Bentong, going to Gombak, Serendah, Puncak Alam Kapar before it arrives in Jalan Kastam Station, and also it will be connected to both Westport and Northport. Let me just try to explain the rationale behind the change back to the original alignment. So I think the federal government, through the Ministry of Transport, believes that the alignment, the northern alignment, as we call it, because the alignment passes around the northern side of Klang Valley. So the northern alignment actually will connect ECRL with KTMB station in Serendah. And from Serendah, we will build quite a special track from Serendah going down to Pelabuhan Kelang to Jalan Kastam, which is a double track. One track is standard gauge for ECRL use, and the other one is a meter gauge track for KTMB use. So this is the idea that we had back in 2016 to provide what they call Serendah bypass rail line. So this is a very important project that the Ministry of Transport has been trying to complete for many years. It has been discussed with the state government, and the state government also, state government of Selangor also recognized the importance of this bypass line for KTMB, since all KTMB trains, as it is right now, coming from the northern side of Malaysia, before arriving in Pelabuhan Kelang, they have to pass through Kuala Lumpur area, and it has caused KTMB cargo service to become inefficient due to some congestion or big congestion within this rail network for KTMB, the existing network for KTMB. Therefore, the cargo service for KTMB is suffering a lot of setbacks. I believe they can perform much better with the existence of this Serendah bypass rail line. So the ECRL project back in 2016 has actually tried to solve this problem, tried to solve this issue immediately with the construction of this meter gauge line for KTMB from Serendah to Pelabuhan Kelang. However, since the alignment was reverted to the southern part, therefore this Serendah bypass cannot be completed if we follow ECRL 2.0. Therefore, I think the Minister of Transport wanted to solve two projects in one go, which is ECRL plus the Serendah bypass. Therefore, they reverted it back to the original alignment and confirm on the ECRL 3.0 alignment. So this is how it's going to look like once ECRL 3.0 is completed. It will function as a bypass line for KTMB and also an access line for ECRL to reach Pelabuhan Kelang. Okay. This is the overall alignment for ECRL starting from Kota Baru going down south to Pasir Putih, Jerteh, Bandar Permaisuri, Kuala Terengganu, Dungun, Kemasik, Cukai, Serating, and then it goes into Pahang. Kuantan Port City is going to be our major station. It is going to be our depot, and then it goes towards the western side of Malaysia, passing through Kota Sas, Paya Besar, Maran, Temerloh, Bentung, and then to our main station for passenger from Lembah Kelang, ITT Gombak. It goes to Serendah, where we will interchange with KTMB in Serendah, and then going towards Jalan Kastam in Port Klang, passing through two locations that we have identified for future stations in Puncak Alam and Kapar. So Jalan Kastam is an existing KTMB station. We will be there. We will be side by side with KTMB again in Jalan Kastam. And from Jalan Kastam, in fact, we have enhanced this alignment by providing this interconnectivity to ports. Just to explain to the audience today, there is an existing track, rail track from Jalan Kastam station to Northport and Westport for KTMB on meter gauge line. However, the previous alignment in ECRL 1.0, ECRL will only terminate in Jalan Kastam. It will not be able to enter into Northport and Westport. But in 3.0, the enhancement that we have made is to upgrade this KTMB meter gauge track into a dual gauge track, and this extension will enable ECRL train to access Northport and Westport directly. So this is very advantageous for ECRL to complete the idea of our land bridge to connect the Port Klang and also Kuantan Port City. So again, this is just another list of the stations. We will have 20 passenger stations. Out of that 20 passenger stations, 10 of those stations will be equipped with freight facility. So we call it an integrated passenger and freight station. So this freight station has been identified due to the requirement for that area to have a freight station. Like I mentioned, the enhancement for ECRL 3.0 is that direct connection to Westport and Northport via a dual gauge upgrade of the existing KTMB meter gauge line. So this is how it looks like, the dual gauge extension from Jalan Kastam into Northport and Westport. So with this enhancement, KTMB cargo train will be able to access right into the port area of Northport and also towards into the Westport. So this is a big improvement if you compare. Although we always been saying that ECRL 3.0 will be taking ECRL 1.0 alignment. However, in 3.0 we have made some enhancement to make it even better. In terms of passenger connectivity, this is how it's going to look like for ECRL when it interconnects with other rail lines, especially in the Klang Valley. We are going to interconnect with KTMB in Temerloh, and also in Serendah Baru and Jalan Kastam. So you can see how tight we are with KTMB with the northern alignment as we go side by side with KTMB from Serendah to Jalan Kastam. In fact, in Kapa and Puncak Alam also, we might be able to interchange with KTMB. With the existing LRT line from ITT Gombak, we will build a station that will be interconnected with the existing ITT Gombak station, which at the same time is also will have the bus terminal in that area in ITT Gombak. So Gombak will remain as the main gateway for Klang Valley people to travel by road towards the east coast. So this is a big plus for Gombak and for Selangor, in fact, if we go with the northern alignment. And as you can see, once you reach ITT Gombak, you can interchange with the LRT line, and then we can reach a bigger station in KL Central. So yeah, that is for passenger. So just general project feature, well, this is pretty much to visualize what we are going to complete. The station, we're going to have a control center in Kuantan Port City, our rolling stock, we're going to build the track work, communication, we're going to have a lot of tunnels, and also this train system, ECRL, will be electrified. So I think during the opening speech, Datuk Isham Ishak also mentioned about how rail transportation is able to contribute in cutting down carbon emissions. So I think ECRL has made that conscious decision rather than going with diesel powered trains. We are going with electric powered trains. So this will reduce a lot of carbon footprint for the project once it's operational. Some more general technical features of the project. It will be built on a standard gauge. Standard gauge, just to compare with the current system that we have in Malaysia, KTMB is running on meter gauge. So the width of the gauge between the two tracks for KTMB is 1.0 meter. But for ECRL, it is 1.435 meter, which is a bit wider. And this is the standard gauge ni is mostly the new railway in the world will adopt this gauge. So with the wider gauge, you can see that our trains will become wider as well, and we are able to provide even more comfortable ride for the passenger service, and we can carry a bit more cargo for our freight trains. For power, yes, I mentioned it will be electrified. The track itself, we will complete this project on a single track, but based on the double track formation design, which means that once it's operational by 2026, only one track will be completed throughout the railway. However, the formation or the foundation or the base of the track we will complete for double track. Therefore, in the future, if there is any plans for the government to upgrade to double track, it's going to be just track work to be done to enhance it into a full double track line. In terms of speed, the passenger service will go for 160 km an hour, and the freight cargo service will go for about 80 km an hour. 160 km is not in the category of high-speed rail yet. Definitely not. 160 is just slightly faster than the current ETS service by KTMB. 80 kilometers an hour for the locomotive pulling the freight and cargo services. Rolling stock, we're going to have about 11 of those what we call EMUs, electrified multiple unit, which is the passenger trains. We're going to have 11 sets of it. We're going to have 18 locomotive and about 1,000 wagons for the system. So you can see that we're going to have a bigger, much bigger fleet for the cargo service because rightfully this project is actually focused more on improving the cargo transportation between Klang Valley and East Coast. I think we can see that in the second part of my presentation. So this is just some visualization of the interior, artist impression of the interior of the EMU, where the passenger train will gonna be. So you can see each row we can fit up to 5 passengers per row. Since the train is much wider, so it's going to be much more comfortable. I think Dr. Isham also has mentioned about how it is important to ensure public transport is comfortable at the same time. And I think ECRL is really going towards that direction. Our trains are going to be wider, it's going to be bigger, it's going to be comfortable with Wi-Fi connection available throughout your journey, compared to if you fly, then you're going to be disconnected. I think in terms of it's not going to be tiring. I think if you bought one of our trains, it's going to be a comfortable journey from your first station until your destination. So yeah, the rest is just some more visualization of our crew room, universal toilet, and we do have accessibility for handicapped persons. Okay, jumping into the progress of the project. The progress of the project, it should be completed by the end of 2026. The construction is divided into 3 sections: KB to Dungun, Dungun to Temerloh, and Mentakap to Port Klang. So section A and B is ongoing. However, for section C from Mentakap to Port Klang, it has been slightly delayed. Negotiations and discussions is ongoing with the Selangor State government. Hopefully we can resolve that matter soon, so that we can continue and complete this project, so that the service date will remain by the end of 2026 or the early of 2027. In terms of project progress, we are slightly behind schedule. We are at 25.09% complete. I can say that the project has performed pretty well, despite facing the global pandemic. We are only about 1 point something percent behind schedule. In terms of employment, so this is one of the socio-economic benefit that a lot of people were asking us, what is the benefit to the local community? In terms of workforce, we can see that 7,000 people is already working, more than 7,000 people is already working for the project, and almost 3,000 of them are Malaysians. So yes, and this is just workforce by our EPCC contractor, which a direct employees of the EPCC contractor and their subcontractors. So you can see that this project has given a lot of new employment opportunity to Malaysians, and generally to generate more economic activity in the country. So that's some introduction about the project and also the progress. I am running out of time, so let's go into the socio-economic benefit and the new opportunities presented itself by ECRL. So I took this slide from ECRDC. As you can see, economic and development gap exists between the Klang Valley and the East Coast region. Definitely, you can see that the East Coast region here, the median household income and the GDP per capita is much less than the national average. It shows that there is a gap in terms of economy, in terms of development between the if you can say between Klang Valley and those regions. So I think this gap is what the government is trying to bridge, and transportation is one of the major major area of infrastructure that needs to be improved, so that the East Coast economic region can unlock its true potential and can become a really opening up the new area for economic development. So a study in 2016 has showed that ECRL is able to generate 141.6 billion of total economic output for the country, and from that 55.7 billion of GNI. So GNI is what economists call money in Malaysians' pocket. So a total of 55.7 billion ringgit to be generated and to go into our national GNI figure. And in terms of employment, it's during development phase or construction phase, up to 82,000 jobs will be created, and during operation is 6,000. So this is they calculated these numbers, these figures based on direct, indirect, and also induced employment from the project. So I think this is just what economists are able to calculate the benefit, the economic benefit of the project. What they cannot calculate is the convenience that we will provide for people to travel back to their kampong, and the happiness that you know, the people, your parents that maybe resides in Kota Baru, Kuala Terengganu, when their children come back for Hari Raya or things like that. So those are the things that cannot be calculated by economists, I guess. So those are a lot of socio-economic benefit that will come from this project. So by 2035, in terms of cargo, we will carry up to 40 million tons per annum. That is the projection that has been done. In terms of passenger, up to 5 million passenger will use it by 2035. So in terms of revenue, it is still focused 70% on freight and 30% on passengers. So the benefit is really to lower transportation costs between Klang Valley and the East Coast region. So for freight, we can see that it will lower about 40 to 50% of transportation costs versus road. So this is a huge competitive advantage that can be captured by manufacturers that will be using our service. I've been talking to one of a very big manufacturer in Terengganu, and they are very excited to know that with ECRL, since they are producing a lot of volume from their production, and right now they are using trucks to export out those products. And with rail, you can reduce transportation costs up to 40 and 50%, and even they can send their cargo straight to Port Klang for export. So that is one very big advantage that will be created for this existing manufacturer. Therefore, we hope following this lead, many more manufacturers will actually set up shop in the East Coast region, and it will actually boom this area in the East Coast region. In terms of passenger, if you versus car, it's 30 to 50% lower cost. So it will enable business growth and encourage a lot of tourism, because you can see that in Kelantan and Terengganu, and also Pahang, Cerateng area, Bandar Permaisuri, these are all very beautiful beaches. And with ECRL, the time, the traveling time to get to this location will be cut down, and the cost to get there also will be cut down. ECRL will improve access to economic center between ECRDC and also Klang Valley, facilitate the movement of goods. I think eventually it will reduce the economic inequality between the two regions, as we connect more people to jobs, and also more capital to ECRDC. I think down there, yes, rail is a more efficient and environmentally sustainable transport mode, as ECRL is fully electrified. And even we are in ECRL right now, in MRL right now, we are thinking about setting up renewable independent power producing plants throughout the alignment, since we are passing through a lot of jungle area. We have a lot of opportunity to develop solar panels, and also we're passing through a lot of plantation, palm oil plantation, and we can look into collecting all this palm biomass coming from the palm plantation, and it can be turned into fuel to power up our renewable energy IPPs throughout the alignment. These are some of the freight types that we are going to carry. In terms of bulk cargo, we are looking at coal, carrying coal and cement. For cement factories throughout the alignment, especially in Pahang and Kelantan. Iron ore, there's a few iron ore mines in the interior of Semenanjung, Malaysia. Those iron ore can be exported out with ECRL, or we can carry the iron ore from for importation from Port Klang or Kuantan Port to steel mills that is existing throughout the alignment of ECRL. Silica, fertilizer, plastic, liquid goods, we are going to carry chemicals, petrochemicals, marine produce, fisheries, cold chain. Manufactured goods, containerized cargo is very important. We have to focus on this. Transshipment containers, utilizing our land bridge. This is also another very important part of the traffic projection. Agriculture, community, palm oil, biomass, rubber I've mentioned, and also e-commerce. We can actually provide service for e-commerce for parcel distribution, not even in our freight station, but also maybe in our passenger station. We can develop small distribution center, small distribution center for parcel distribution to support the e-commerce into the East Coast region. So these are just the list of all the industrial hubs that we're going to pass through. You can maybe you cannot see, it's very small now. These are the list of our freight station and the type of cargo that we have identified coming from those stations. I think I do not have to go through one by one. So Gebeng, Kerteh, these are big industrial park, existing industrial park. We are going to provide a lot of logistic support for this area. In Tembulang, Mentakap, there is forestry industry for logging and also for paper manufacturing, Pahang Technology Park in Gambang. These are all major industrial hubs and special economic zones that ECRL will pass through. I would like to spend some time to explain about the cargo land bridge between Kuantan Port and Port Klang that we have going to establish. So a lot of people were thinking about this land bridge to be to act as a bypass to Singapore. But we in MRL, I think we put more emphasis in terms of value adding activity along the land bridge rather than just pure transshipment. So meaning that if you have cargo coming from let's say China, you can send it to Kuantan Port and maybe it's semi-finished or unfinished product. So along the way between Kuantan Port to Port Klang, you can send it to your manufacturing plant to finish it, and then the finished goods can be sent to Port Klang for export towards the other side of the globe. So and vice versa. So it can also come from Port Klang and goes out from Kuantan Port. So this value adding manufacturing process is, I think, is key to make this land bridge work to its true potential. And I think there is also talk about the Thailand bridge that is coming up in the north in Thailand. So I guess between ECRL and the Thailand bridge is just a matter of who will complete the project first to capture all this activity, all this shipping activity, and also value adding manufacturing activity. So I guess I hope this ECRL project will be completed by the end of 2026, and we have the advantage of starting first ahead of the Thailand land bridge. So this is just another list of opportunity apart from a lot of industrial opportunity that you can see in terms of logistics. I've touched a bit on e-commerce, on parcels distribution, but on top of that, each of the state, the freight station in the state is able to be turned into a logistic hub as it crosses between the road infrastructure and also the rail infrastructure. TOD, transit-oriented development, yes, I have no time to discuss about this, but some of the station, TOD station or passenger station for ECRL will have high potential for TOD development, but not everyone, because I think ECRL passes through a lot of rural area. Therefore, our TOD in our major station in the state capital, I think those stations can be developed. Some TOD can be developed around it. For example, in Kota Baru, Kuala Terengganu, Kota Sas, Bentong, ITT Gombak, and Puncak Alam, and also Jalan Kastam. We will support a lot of tourism activity in East Coast, as you can see in the slide right now. So again, this is another a very big concept that we think apart from the cargo land bridge, we can also have a digital land bridge to connect all this undersea cable that goes around the Peninsula Malaysia. However, maybe we can bring some of the undersea cable to utilize ECRL right of way, ROW, our corridor, and we can actually bring it onshore on top, rather than going around undersea cable, and it makes it not easy to maintain if there is any issue with the undersea cable. But if once you take it onshore and you run it along ECRL corridor, as you can see, ECRL is connecting the 2 points, and those 2 points are in Kuantan and Port Klang. So if we can utilize the corridor as a digital run bridge, so ECRL will not only transport cargo but also bandwidth. So this is our big picture that we have, a high level concept that we're thinking about. Also some high level thinking on integrated utility corridor for ECRL. So the corridor can be utilized by many other utilities, for example, maybe gas, water, and also for power, because we do have our own 3311 and 0.4 kV distribution cable throughout the alignment. So I guess I really have run out of time here, and I guess that's all from me. Yeah, I pass over back to you, Kayi.
Thank you, Mr. Zaidi, for giving us an overview and comprehensive of ECRL project and its opportunity. I think due to time limit, we would love to hear more on the project. The effort of MRL keeping ECRL connected, integrated with various railway system is much appreciated. We know there are massive technical coordination required to achieve the intention of bridging the economic and development gap. We believe your profound expertise and international exposure in strategic planning will truly empower ECRL as a game changer, not only to Peninsular Malaysia, but the global strategic positioning of Malaysia in the investment market globally. Thanks again, Mr. Zaidi. Do stay with us till 12:10 p.m. for the first panel Q&A session. We should go through more details on the opportunities of ECRL again. Thank you, Mr. Zaidi.
Sure.